Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today we are reviewing the 2023 release of Michter's 10-year single barrel Kentucky straight rye whiskey. Today's video is once again brought to us by our great friends over at ZBiotics. ZBiotics is the world's very first pre-alcohol probiotic drink. It works effortlessly by breaking down the toxic byproduct of alcohol in the gut before it gets to the liver. So if you're planning on drinking and want to enjoy tomorrow, ZBiotics will deliver. Using ZBiotics is basically effortless. All you gotta do is grab a ZBiotics, give it a good shake, drink it down before you start drinking, and then obviously stay hydrated, get a good night's sleep, and drink responsibly. And the next day, guess what? It's a great day. Their 100% money back guarantee guarantees you'll be satisfied. Click on the first link in the description box below. Go to zbiotics.com/ADHD or scan this QR code on the screen. Enter code ADHD at checkout and you're gonna save 15% off your first order of ZBiotics. Today's Matt wants to thank ZBiotics for sponsoring this video, and tomorrow's Matt wants to thank ZBiotics for doing all the scientific hard work behind the scenes required for me to feel great the day after drinking. Just after the first of the year, I was able to get my hands on some pretty cool bottles, this being one of them, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing these bad boys. This Michter's 10 single barrel is barrel number 23H2899. This single barrel comes in at 92.8 proof, 46.4% ABV. It says distilled in small batches according to the Michter's pre-Revolutionary War quality standards dating back to 1753. It also says single barrel, so always confused by that. America. I know that the A barrels of Michter's 10 bourbon got a lot of hype, and everybody said that the A barrels of the Michter's 10 bourbon were like the best ones. I did not get an A barrel of Michter's 10 bourbon. My Michter's 10 bourbon is a D barrel, but word on the street is the H barrels of Michter's 10 rye are supposed to be the bee's knees, the turkey's titties, the antelope's areolas, the vampire bat's von Deferens. You know, the best of the best stuff that there is, the good stuff. Well, I'm here to say that I have an H barrel, and we're about to find out if all that is true, or if it's just great rye whiskey like normal. Here we are. Hang tag reading. The Michter's legacy traces back to America's first whiskey distilling company established in 1753. During its rich history, it has also been known as Shanks and as Bombergers. Over the years, Michter's has earned praise from whiskey lovers as well as acclaim from writers for its exceptional small production ryes, bourbons, and American whiskeys. We hope that our single barrel spirits show you that specialty whiskey making in America is alive and well and as good as it gets. Smells good. Smells real good. Excuse me, miss. What is that fine scent you're wearing? Michter's 10-year rye. I like it. I like it a lot. It is a bit of a bourbony profile, a little bit of caramel and oak. If you were a novice whiskey taster, or even maybe a professional, top-notch whiskey taster, not necessarily up to my standards, but still pretty good, this might confuse you into thinking that it is not a rye at all, but instead a bourbon whiskey coming from the Michter's distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. But as I hone in on this product with my vastly superior nose, especially now that my cold is clearing up, I can definitely 100% tell, man, it smells like bourbon. They don't disclose their mash bill, at least not publicly anyway, unless of course they do, which is why I have my wonderful assistant. I will put my wonderful assistant on it to find out if there is a disclosed Michter's rye mash bill. Let's find out. I'm gonna call my assistant. What is the mash bill for Michter's rye whiskey?
I found this on the web.
Thank you, assistant. The mash bill is thought to be 51% rye. Oh, thought to be. Yes. Yes. That's Buffalo Trace. I said Michter's, not Mickey's. Ugh. What is the mash bill for Michter's rye whiskey? Not mixtures, Michter's.
According to Serious Eats, Rye's mash bill must, by law, consist of at least 51% rye. Most rye whiskeys use malted barley or corn as the other grains. As with bourbon, ground grain is mixed with water and a bit of mash from a previous distillation, in what's known as a sour mash process.
You're fired.
I hope we can still be friends.
For $30, we can be friends.
I'm your friend till the end.
You wish you were my friend till the end, you son of a bitch.
I found this on the web.
Hard to find good help nowadays. Hard to find good help. There is some Cracker Jacks happening here, some caramel popcorn. If there were a rye note that laid in this glass, and due to the physics and cosmetics that allow us to smell things, it provided a scent that reminded me of a rye whiskey, that scent would be a tinge of like bright, maybe spearmint, or it almost has like a sweetgrass note to it. 10-year Michter's Rye Single Barrel down the hatch. All right. Definite rye notes on the palate of this. In the past, I do believe that the palate of these were a bit more bourbony, less rye-like, and seemingly more like full-bodied, oily, old tasting, and offered a much more incredible drinking experience. This is very good. This is a very good rye whiskey, but it's lacking the wow factor that I've got from previous years' Michter's 10 Ryes. Look at me sitting here on my stool, critiquing delicious whiskey like a tool. Super sorry, but it's my job. It's what I do. Second sip. This is a very good low proof rye. If you were trying to get a bourbon lover to enjoy rye and they just couldn't find the right way to get there, this would be a wonderful passageway. Although there are more brighter, minty rye notes on this particular barrel than I've gotten from other Michter's 10 rye releases, it's still soft enough and sweet enough in a bourbony sweet way that it could certainly be used to bridge the gap between bourbon and high rye and possibly grasp the interest of a bourbon lover or two. Michter's uses a lower barrel entry proof than other distilleries, meaning that when the bourbon ages and comes out of the barrel, it is at a lower proof at barrel strength than other distilleries. So although 92 proof is relatively low, it's not necessarily that low for a Michter's product. I mention that to say this. Even at 92 proof, this does feel a bit thin. And I know you're thinking that 92 proof whiskey isn't gonna be extra oily and thick, but I definitely feel like this is lacking in that category. And for a $200 bottle of whiskey, you get to be a little bit picky. In the past, I've really loved these Michter's 10 Rye whiskeys. This isn't necessarily an exception to that. I think that it is still a super high quality, delicious 10-year rye whiskey, but I do feel like it's missing a few things that previous releases had, and that's a bummer. So today, Michter's 10-year rye whiskey single barrel 2023 release receives a score from me of 7.76. 7.76. It is very good, but it is lacking some oiliness, and therefore the finish is lacking. That's why this year the score be slacking. Just a little bit, 7.76. Michter's 10-year single barrel rye. That's gonna do it for this video. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Leave a comment down below. I know some of you out there have many bottles of this stashed away from years prior. Am I right thinking that this is a bit thinner and a bit not what it used to be? I suppose it's really difficult for anybody to say unless they have this particular single barrel, because I've heard fantastic things about other H barrels. This H barrel is not anything special, that's for sure. Maybe some of them H's be bad bitches. But if what I have here is similar to the H barrels that everyone is bragging about, then I would say that the hype is not real at all. The hype is not real. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on having bottle shapes that are pleasing. Like this one. Like this one. Broad shoulders, skinny waist, long neck that you can just choke if you want to. Dead. You know what I mean? Shapes are pleasing. And I love shapes. What's your favorite shape? Sometimes I start these outros and then when I'm done with them, I realize that that was the worst one.